Rob, thank you very much for joining us with the mobile module. First of all, perhaps you could tell us a little about yourself, what you've done in the past, just listen in that way.
Okay, right, so I spent my whole life working in digital marketing, from back in the early days of Monster.com, helped launch that in the UK in 1998. Right through search, a lot of search for the last 8 years, and then took a calculated career decision to move into mobile about 2 years ago. And now founded my own business called mobilemarketingexperts.com.au, specialising in media planning, buying, strategy, production, and pretty much anything with the word mobile.
Okay, so perhaps I could ask you a few questions now about mobile.
Sure.
First of all, what are the most popular mobile pricing models out there, would you say?
The pricing models for mobile pretty much follow the pricing models for online, in terms of there is at the top end there is a CPM or cost per thousand impressions model, which will operate for some of the premium publishers, moving down to more volume and performance, cost per click and cost per acquisition models.
Okay, perhaps we could talk a bit more about the performance-based pricing models?
Yeah, so the performance-based pricing models, the mobile ecosystem, first of all, is very different to the web ecosystem insofar as it's made up of a lot of diverse long-tail apps. Aggregators pull together these apps to provide publishers with a platform to monetize their content, and in doing so, they have a very, very varied spread of impressions. So it's very hard for advertisers to focus on one particular niche. Performance-based pricing models, particularly CPC, cost per click and cost per acquisition models, are largely focused on these big volumes of diverse clicks. So the performance models work where there's basically an abundance of clicks, as opposed to a scarcity when CPM pricing works more effectively.
Can you describe why, how, and when an advertiser might wish to be targeted by mobile OS handset type or carrier?
Sure. I mean, the most natural examples for targeting by handset are actually handset manufacturers. So someone like HTC launching a new phone to the market may look to target handsets which are 2 years old on HTC, so we know that it's a HTC customer, they're comfortable with the operating system and the phone, and they may look to upgrade. Or there might be a very direct competitive approach, such as Samsung trying to target iPhone 3GS users with a new phone because they know it's time to upgrade and they think the phone's better than the iPhone, and therefore that's when you might look to target by handset.
How popular are DSP ad or exchange models?
I think the DSP model, the mobile industry is generally fairly early stage in Australia, probably earlier than in lots of other parts of the world, in APAC and in Europe and the US. And DSPs are also at that stage, so it's at the start of DSPs, at the start of mobile. I think right now there isn't sufficient volume to get all of your campaign objectives met through just a DSP or an exchange. But going forward, as more and more people use smartphones, there's higher levels of consumption, then there may be an opportunity to use a DSP. There is an opportunity to use a DSP, but there will never be a premium play in DSP in terms of the CPM pricing.
So obviously you've been involved, like you say, since 1988 or very early on in mobile. Do you have a favourite campaign that you can?
I think there's lots of really creative campaigns, there's lots of creative executions, but I think a great campaign is a campaign that pulls together many of the assets of mobile. So it looks at a store locator for using Geo, it looks at mobile payments, it looks at mobile vouchering, it might have some rich media and video content associated with it. So I think that in terms of a favourite one to hang my hat on, there probably isn't one. But in terms of what makes it a good one, it's really about pulling all of those and not repurposing a website. It's about designing something specific for the handset and the device, and think about when the device is used. So it's mobile, obviously. I think 1 out of 3 searches on mobile are all location-based searches. So find me a restaurant, find me a car wash, find me whatever it might be, a bakery. So it's really looking at how the device works well with location. So having an ad that links to a map and using your location tools in your phone to take you in store and try a dress on or buy a car.
Talking about location-based campaigns, what are some of the challenges around that?
Location-based campaigns are intrinsically difficult because of privacy. So if your phone asks you to share your location, some people feel comfortable with that, some people don't. If you don't share your location, it's very hard to use location-based dynamics within a campaign. But there's no doubt that that's changing. It's coming to the fore more. That NFC communication will be more prevalent in phones in the next 2 years, and that will also help you to serve more local content.
Okay, so the million-dollar question, how do you see the next 3 to 5 years? What developments do you feel will?
There's a very clear. There's probably two very clear trends in terms of device. So tablets will become prevalent. I think the stats by the IAB are by 2015, 33% of households will have a tablet device. So that in itself creates a whole new channel for advertisers in terms of it's different to the phone, it's different to the computer, it's used at different times, it's used for different things. So that's a very separate thing that will happen in the next 2 or 3 years. We'll see that, people planning to have not just a mobile strategy, but a smartphone and tablet strategy, both of those together. So, and then just the prevalence of mobile phones generally, smartphones particularly. I think the stats are there'll be 30 million smartphones sold in the next 2 years in Australia, which is obviously more than the population. So that kind of talks about the relevance and the prevalence and the ubiquity of a mobile device and a smartphone, and that then offers a lot more capabilities in terms of rich executions, videos, links to other things, click to call, click to download, click to watch, click to have a badge or share, etc., etc. So I think that will be the prevalence of smartphones and the growth, the huge growth of.
From a publishing perspective and also from an agency perspective, what are the difficulties or challenges in going from your display advertising into these mobile campaigns?
It's a good question. So I think for the agencies, it's really a matter of not having the experience. There's not right now in end of 2011. There's no one working full-time agency side in a mobile role, which is disappointing because there's obviously a lot of volume out there, and and the mobile is intrinsic within people's lives. I think the challenge will be getting the right people with the right experience when the market's so young and so small. So that's kind of the challenge for an agency, and also understanding where that budget's coming from. Is it coming from display? Is it coming from innovation? Is it potentially coming, and this is a pattern that I think we'll see going forward, is it coming from TV spend because it's been repurposed onto a tablet? Potentially. So it's about understanding where that money comes from. Keep going back to the client and asking for more money because it's mobile. It's really about where does the product come from within that their overall marketing communications budget. For publishers and mobile, it's really about how that content's produced and executed and delivered. I think the gold rush maybe a year ago with building an app was just taking web content and sticking it onto a mobile device, which is not the right way to do it. The SMH iPad app is splendid. It's well produced, well executed, tailor-made for iPad execution. It looks really good. And when you start seeing those sort of publishers moving their model into tablet in particular, but also into smartphone, and making it bespoke for that device, those are the challenges, and that's what they need to do in marketing.
Do you think Australia's been slow to react?
Very much so, and globally the stats are pretty appalling for how much spend is on mobile from an advertising perspective. But in terms of where Australia will be in the next until 2015 by growth, we're growing 2 times faster than Asia and the global rate. So we're growing at about 48% over the next few years. And I think we'll see that that's actually just the Australian advertising mobile economy just catching up with where it probably should be from a mobile perspective.
So where will these skills come from? If you're saying that agencies don't have, and maybe even anybody who's sort of targeted to do this, where are the experts going to come from?
People from digital learning more about mobile. A lot of the onus falls on the advertising providers, the networks, and it's just really a lot of it will come from just learning by doing. There isn't anybody who has a magic wand for mobile right now who has all of the solutions. It's so diverse. So it's not just an advertising, it's a payment platform, it's an entertainment medium, it's your maps, it's your contact book. It's so much more than being just a phone that I think people will just pull in experts as they need to, and they'll learn, and then they'll develop their own product. But people are still learning, even people
How
who've
would
been
you characterise these career opportunities for people currently in digital?
The planning process, there's still a media planning opportunity in mobile, but it's just very diverse and very different from an implementation, tracking and reporting perspective. But the metrics are still the same. They're still click-through rates and impressions and appearances and reach and frequency. It's still the same metrics. So in the media planning stage, there's obviously a lot of media planning buying strategy in particular. There's a lot of opportunities to work out. I continually talk about the role of mobile across all of these channels. The tablet strategy, how does mobile work in magazines? Is it a QR code? Is it a link to a mobile site? Is it to download an app? So the strategy, pulling that together, will really leverage the power of mobile. It's not a standalone product. Mobile is social, mobile is video, mobile is magazine, mobile is TV. It cuts across all of the different channels. So someone who can strategize for mobile and bring that together and understand how to deliver that's a good opportunity. And I think on the publisher side, it's really about how do you produce good, engaging, high quality content that will be used and shared by people on mobile devices, be that tablet or be that phone.
So what phone do you have?
I'm afraid working in media in Sydney, I've had the ubiquitous iPhone, but I also have a BlackBerry and an Android, so I can test out some work. This right now in Australia, Android, iPhone will have the install base advantage until 2014. After that time, I think we'll see Android, which is clearly becoming very fast through the ranks as a dominant player. But I think we'll also see some interesting niche competition from RIM and BlackBerry, and also from Windows Phone 7 from Microsoft. I don't think they're going to walk away from mobile and just hand it to Google and to Apple.
No, the laptop becomes the secondary. Can I just ask you about augmented reality? If you look at some of that stuff, do you think that'll actually take off, or is it a novelty?
Augmented reality right now is a novelty, in my opinion. Does it have some value? Yes, I think it does have some value. But I think that the real areas of focus for mobile are really quite simple. But if businesses are looking to seize the opportunity in mobile, augmented reality is not the opportunity in mobile. Augmented reality is the thing that might get you an award at an awards dinner. It might get people who are your friends to think you're really cool. But the reality about augmented reality is that it's still very niche and very gimmicky at the moment. It, like I say, does have probably has more uses B2B than B2C. But it's not that isn't mobile, just augmented reality.